Hello and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm Linda Smith and I'm going to be your host for Lynchburg Live every other Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Lynchburg is a quiet city and a nice place to raise your family. But one of the things that I've found out is Lynchburg has a wealth of interesting people. And that's going to be my focus with this show, is to try to bring some of them to you and introduce them to you and let you get to meet them. So you'll know a little bit about who I am. I'm a wife, I'm a stepmom, I'm a church member, I'm a registered nurse with 38 years of operating room experience, and I'm president of a science fiction club here in Lynchburg for 25 years. And most recently, I'm a breast cancer survivor. Breast cancer victimizes 1 in 8 women, which are staggering statistics. But according to my surgeon, with early detection, breast cancer is now considered one of the curable cancers. And that's what we're here to talk to you about tonight. Not statistics and not treatment, but I have 2 guests who are also breast cancer survivors. And we want to tell you about the breast cancer experience from the standpoint of real women who have gone through this. We also hope that if someone's watching who's put off a mammogram, that you'll go on and make an appointment and get that mammogram. And if anything we say can help save a life, then what we've gone through is not for nothing. All right, I want to introduce my guest. To my left is Kathy Tona, and Kathy is a 1-year survivor, and she's about 5 months ahead of me as far as diagnosis and treatment goes. And to my right is Marcia McKenzie, and Marcia was diagnosed at a very early age, and she's a 20-year breast cancer survivor. And why don't we start with you, Marcia? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm a musician, I'm a mother, I'm a cataloger at Randolph College in the library there, and as you said, I'm a 20-year survivor. I got breast cancer at age 32 when I had just very young children. One was 10 months old, one was 27 months old. And I had a strong family history of breast cancer, so I thought maybe I would get it at some point, but I just didn't quite expect to get it quite so young. But I'm happy to say I'm 20 years gone from no recurrence or anything. So
that's wonderful. And I'm the only person in my family who's ever had any cancer at all. Mm-hmm. Kathy, tell us.
Well, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, a graphic designer, a volunteer, and I was diagnosed last year with breast cancer. I also am in remission for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that had come back also. So I was dealing with 2 cancers, and I'm doing fine now through everything, all the treatment, and just really glad to be here, Linda. Thank you.
Breast cancer is not an easy thing to go through. So I want to ask both of these women, what was your most difficult moment? Mine was certainly the diagnosis, and then after going through chemo, I lost my hair, and I thought that was very difficult.
you want to go first?
Oh, the most difficult moment for me was telling my family, especially my son, and I didn't want to scare him, but I wanted to be honest with him, that it would be okay. He was scared, and that was my most difficult moment.
How old is your son?
He just turned 13. Yes.
Well, after the initial shock for me at getting it so young, and of course the fear that I had 2 very young children, I didn't really have to deal with telling them. You know, Mommy was a little bit sick and she was getting fixed, getting better, but that was about the extent of what they knew. But I was, of course, had the fear in the back of my mind that maybe I wouldn't be around to see them grow up. But that passed pretty quickly, I think, because I had known a lot of, heard of several survivors at that point, and so I had a pretty hopeful outlook as far as that goes. I think, and this may be something that neither of you can have had experience with yet, but as a long-term survivor, I can look back and think that it was sort of right after the few years after I had cancer that it was a problem for me, because I'd always been very healthy and very active and good diet and exercise and hardly ever saw the doctor. And then after I had breast cancer, it felt like every single little bump or symptom or pain or whatever, I had to run to the doctor and check it out and make sure that there wasn't something coming back or whatever. So that I sort of felt like it made me a little bit of a hypochondriac that way, and I didn't like that feeling that I was kind of always had that hanging over my head. So that's been the hardest thing for me to work through. But that's passed some with time too. So.
You know, just being a nurse, listening to what you said about the fear of every little bump and pain and ache, the first thing you think of is has this come back? And
Right.
you see, I see that in my patients, and now I'm assuming that I'll probably feel the same way as I get farther along with this. One of the things that I've found out in going through this experience is that you really have to have good coping skills. And if you're able to have a sense of humor and keep a positive attitude, I think that those two things right there are the things that have gotten me through. Plus, having a really good support system with my husband and some really close friends. And I found out it's not a bad thing to cry, and it's not a bad thing to lean on your husband or your friends, because they are there to help you, and if they're your true friends, then they want to help you. What about you all? What kind of coping skills?
Oh, well, I had to ask a lot of questions to my team and learn about what I was going through, about what I was about to go through. That helped me focus. I had to eliminate stress and negativity. That was important. To feel good, do things that made me feel good. It was time for me to take care of myself, do for me, and not feel guilty about it. That helped me get through the first of it. I took massages from the Allen B. Pearson Cancer Center has a program. They have the Image Recovery Center, and Diane and Jane,
Right.
there helped me out. Manicures, pedicures, massages, hair, nail, everything you can imagine. They took care of me, made me feel comfortable, and I was able to accept the treatments. I ate well, made sure I got enough sleep, exercise, because it was time to take care of me. And I grieved, I cried, I felt it. That was hard, but I came out of it, I came through that a better person. I had good days and bad days, of course. There were days I didn't get out of bed, but for the most part, every day I tried to get out of bed. I'd get dressed, even if I wasn't going to go out. I got dressed, I put makeup on, I made myself feel good. And I took care of the things around the house. I took care of my family.
They told me when I was going into chemo and radiation that the people who do things and have things that they enjoy in their life and continue to try to do them, that those people are the people who do the best.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's really important to take care of yourself and give yourself permission to pamper yourself and feel good. I think we don't do enough of that in general, even
Right.
now. I mean, I'd like to see women take more time for themselves. But and I did some of that. I'm the kind of person that tends to go at everything 150%. But I did allow myself, you know, on chemo days to just not do anything. There were a few days there to just lay in bed, feel sick, have someone else take care of dinner,
Right.
watch the kids, whatever. And that was a good thing. But it was, as you say, it was helpful for me to keep doing what I normally do and to focus on. I had 2 really little children, and some people thought, well, how could you do that when you're undergoing all this treatment? But I think it actually helped me get through it because I had
I'm sure it
something else
did.
to focus on. I had no time to feel sick. I had no time to think about myself or have a pity party or whatever. I had something to live for, something to do, to take care of my kids. So I did that. I'm a musician, as I said, and I was in a clogging group at that point. And we always had these jokes about what was going to happen when I clog, if my wig would fly off or whatever. But I just kept doing everything I normally do. And my husband was really good. He was very supportive, but he was also encouraging that I just continue, and we just continue our lives as much as we could. And I think to focus on something outside of yourself is